Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Real Time with Prince Blue, and today is April the 2nd. April Fools is over, and y'all know this is Real Time with Prince Blue, and I am your host, of course, Prince Blue. And today I have a very special guest with me today. We've been following each other on Twitter for a long time, and we always go at it about music. We go at it about sports. We go at it about just anything in general. Like if I don't get a block me back once a week, I know I haven't been trolling hard enough. Um, she's fantastic, and this is just to let you know that all blue checks are not important. And I say that because when you hear some of the background that she has, some of the experience she's had, her knowledge, some of the places she's been, some of the things she's accomplished in life, it a blue check won't do it any justice. I'm very excited about this guest, and you're gonna know why. And as we talk, because she's done some things that name another show has been able to have somebody like that on here. So I know her as Double L, Love the Pup, because she's a huge hockey fan. Um, you can find her on at Twitter at Double L Loves the Pup. She's fantastic. I'm gonna bring her in right now. Hello,
Hello, hello, hello.
how are you, ma'am?
I am well. How are you doing? Nice intro.
I,
Thank you. Made me feel
hey,
special.
look,
I
you
was
are
like,
special.
I was like, who's he talking about? Who's
All
that?
my guests are special. That's why and I'll be like, hey, can y'all like shoot me a little bio or something? And they be like, uh. Just tell them I know sports. I'm like, you got to give me more than that.
Right.
But
Do something.
yeah, give me something. But I am very excited because I tried to get you during Black History Month, but you have a very important job where you do a lot of Zooms, and you told me flat out, and not just what I loved about it. You was like, Blue, I'm zoomed out. I got
Yes.
Zoom fatigue. I can't do it. And I respected that so much. You didn't try to like hide or try to blow me off. You was like, hey, I just got Zoom fatigue.
So much Zoom. I dream about Zoom. I just Zoom. Like just Zoom.
And, you know, I wonder if even when this pandemic is gone, like, are they going to be like, you know what? Why pay rent? Why pay AC and stuff like that? Won't y'all just stay home and
Right.
Zoom me?
Right. We don't need no office supplies, no coffee, nothing. We don't have to do none of that. Y'all stay home.
No drama, no office romance,
Right.
no
You
nothing.
know,
Just home.
water bill low now because nobody flushing the toilet.
Listen, nobody flooding the toilet, nobody
Right.
stinking up the toilet that act like they didn't
Right.
do it. We've
Nobody
all
washing
been
their
there.
hands. Well, everybody don't wash their hands all the time. Anyway, we learned that.
I
So
was
that was
just in the
a big
gas station. I was just in the gas station the other day, and I kid you not, a guy came out the stall, walked right past me as I was washing my hands. In 2021.
that's crazy.
Like I don't get the water's right there.
It's
It's not
right in front as
free,
soon as
but
you
it's
walk
free.
out
Just nothing.
or next to
He walked out touching the doorknob, and I'm like,
you. Ugh.
uh, uh, uh.
Yeah, that's gross.
So, but let's not waste time talking about gross people in the world.
Yeah, let's.
Um, you have a very unique background, and I say that because you've done a lot of things in this industry. You've met a lot of people, but yet you don't talk about it. You don't broadcast it. Um, you don't, you don't throw out I guess you would say the classic thirst traps. You talk about things, and then I notice when somebody tries to check you on something, and then you got to come back with them like to remind them who you are. Um, Tell me how does that exactly work? Because me personally, if I've done a lot of stuff, You couldn't tell me nothing when I graduated from high school. I used to tell people, listen, I'm a high school graduate. You ain't gonna talk to me like that. But you've done other stuff. So how do you keep that? How do you keep that balled up?
Let me take my glasses off for this one. Let me take my glasses off. Um, so during my early Twitter days, they actually did used to call me the Throwback Thursday Queen.
Okay.
Because I keep my throwback. So when I first started Twitter, I was still kind of, doing a little acting, a little modeling. Actually got a couple of things from Twitter, including being on a local TV show to talk about sports. I was their social media person, which was pretty cool. But yeah, for the most part, it's like it was a part of my life when anniversaries come up or even throwbacks or that kind of thing. I'm like, you know what? This is pretty cool. I'm proud of it. I don't do it anymore, but I'm still proud of what I've done. So when people bring up certain things, they say, oh, that was a slight flex. It was like, no, it's the Wire 15th anniversary. Hey, I'm proud of that. I was a part of that. Here, boom. Or, it's head of state was released this long ago. Boom, I was a part of that. Oh, Martin Sheen, The West Wing. Oh, boom, I was a part of that. So it's more like, again, people say flex, but it's, hey, I got to experience it, or hey, I was on the set. It was,
No, you're
hey,
not gonna let that slide
I was involved
because
with that.
you're
Or
not
when they
gonna
say
let that.
spokesmodel, I'm like, boom, okay, I was the first, Black spokesmodel for Remy Martin. It's just, it's almost like you play and you got your deck of cards, and it's like, wait a minute, is that an ace? That's an ace. That's an ace.
Play it. Play it.
Yeah, so that's but
But
there's
you're
probably
not
some
gonna let that.
stories or people that I've met, but that I'll probably never mention, and it's just I see some stuff and I just let it scroll. I'm just like, and then some stuff I'm like, I might put out some sub tweets or some hints. Like a couple people say I tweet in code, and I'm like, you got to keep up. If I throw something up, you got to be able to pick it up. Because somebody
Man,
will be trending, and I may have had an experience or been around them, and I'm like, and then I'll just sit back and see if anybody picks it up.
well, I be picking them up sometimes. But listen, ma'am, you're not gonna let that slide. I have not seen The Wire, but I personally have not seen The Wire yet. Because let me tell you why. Can I explain myself? Can I
Yes,
explain
yes.
myself?
I'll let you do. Go
With
ahead.
The Wire and anything Wire, Power, anything else that black people sink their teeth
I've
into,
never seen Power.
they
So we're there.
ruin it when it comes on. They tweet about it, they tell it. So I'm like, I already know that Ghost died. Like, I already know who shot Ghost. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't do it. But you're not gonna let that slip. You was in The Wire, which is very, 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 very important among the black community. But explain what you were doing in The Wire, because this is funny to me. Because I remember this
So
scene.
I was actually if you say you never watched it, I was actually in 3 scenes in The Wire. But the one that was that's not a flex, but the one that is most talked about is the scene with Kima. And let me tell you, I'll give you the setup. So I have a friend who's what do you call them? The runners, the PAs, I think. And I could be wrong, but the PAs that are, on the set. Matter of fact, he's a Miaka. And a Miaka is men interested in AKA. This is a real group. And I actually have a funny story about that, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, he hit me up and he said they're looking for, extra. I know you've been on a couple times, but they're looking for extra roles, not really speaking, but you get some, camera time. He said, if you're interested, they're kind of doing the audition now, so I went up to Baltimore. It's not that far from me. And it was about probably at least 100 girls in that room. And they had them lined up around this big. It was like like some kind of event hall. And the assistant director was going around looking. So my mom had come with me because she wanted to see her cousin there. And so, he's going up and down and he walked back and he pedaled back. And my mom said when she saw that pedal, that Dion back pedal, She said, "Oh, he's gonna pick her." She's like, "He's gonna pick her." So he, did it twice, and then looked at somebody over in the corner, and then looked again, and they did that head nod. Next thing I know, grabbed me, pulled me over. So we do the scene the same day, and we're in a bar, and so they say, "All we need you to do is look and drink a beer," but it's not gonna be beer. It was like club soda, seltzer water. I don't know. It was nasty. But they said all we need to do is look. Now, mind you, you know how they, switch the cameras. So when I'm initially looking at her, she's not there. I'm looking at a blank space. But when it was her time to be on camera, she told the director, "I want her there so I can look at her." So
I remember that scene.
when I'm looking and people are like, "You giving her that look?" I'm like, it's blank space. I'm not looking at her. How crazy.
But she wanted to look at you.
Yeah, she wanted me there to look, and she's a tourist like me.
Kima.
But so it's supposed to be the setup where she was having, and you haven't seen it yet, but she's a lesbian cop, and she was having problems with her live-in girlfriend, and I want to say she was pregnant at the time, and she just kind of started drifting off, and the setup was for her to go out and find somebody and hook up and all that good stuff. So when she went out to the bar, I was supposed to be the hookup, which is where the whole look came from. So those 10 seconds or 15 seconds on the screen, people remembered. Like people would actually notice me from that scene. And I'm like, I wasn't even on the camera that long. They're like, "No, you don't understand." And I'm like, I was just...
You don't understand. A prominent lesbian detective in one of the most prominent urban shows ever tried to shoot her shot with you in a scene. Like, I mean, what are you talking about? People, what you thought people wasn't gonna remember that? Like, yeah, we gonna remember that. We gonna remember that.
True.
But that was one thing. Now let's get to because I tweeted out the picture of you as a Boondocks character.
That's a fun story.
How the hell? Like, I'm Aaron Magruder. I'm sitting here. I'm like, I need a female in this episode. Like, he could have drew anybody. Like, how did he say, "I want Double L's likeness"? And did you find it strange that he had to ask you? Because I'm trying to think, if you would have been looking at the Boondocks, would have been like, "That's me"?
Probably not initially, because when it happened, I didn't tell a lot of people, after it happened, but they recognized and said, "Is that you? That looks like you." But the crazy story is he found me through MySpace. So he had seen my pictures in King magazine, and he had seen some other stuff and found me. And so, of course, when he inboxed me, they didn't have the verified account thing for that time. So, I'm thinking it's some old random, he's like, "It's Amber." I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, no. So we started talking a little more. And then, of course, he had to send me a picture, like holding up with his face saying that it was him. Because I was like, it's not you. But from there, we started talking, and he started telling me about the episode, and he said, I have, they have all these dating sites and people on MySpace, but you meet them and they're not who they say they are. They're not the, as far as the person, and they see these, attractive women, and let's take them out on a date. So he's like, "I'm gonna set up the scene." And he said, I want to use your likeness. I was like, "Wow, really?" And he's like, yeah. I was like, "Wow," and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty cool." And he showed me the pictures that he kind of wanted to use, which, to see the creative mind go from taking pictures and then turn it into a whole character and cartoon is incredible. But the one thing he did not tell me was how it ended.
Oh, yeah. So you won't tell anybody?
Right.
Oh
So
man,
hey, I
because
did
I'm.
not.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I said I did not know how it was going to end.
Now, why didn't he let you voice her?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably because he wanted a more famous voice. I was thinking.
Who did voice you, by the way? Do you
Aisha
remember?
Tyler. Aisha Tyler.
Oh, I have my own thoughts on her. She's the go-to for them. Because I know they did her in what's the other cartoon where she actually voices the character? I forgot it. It's the whole
Yeah,
spy thing.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember. But okay, so they got her to voice you. So that's cool. That
That
has
was
to
yeah,
be.
but that's really cool. And he sent me all the screen captures. So I had all the screen captures before the episode aired, and even some that they didn't even use. He sent me those.
That
So
is
that was
awesome.
cool. But yeah, the ending, yeah, I'm actually glad he didn't tell me the ending because I might have said no. Because you've seen the episode, right?
I have not.
Oh, then I can't spoil it for you. You got to watch the
Don't
episode.
spoil it for
Don't
me.
spoil
I
it for
have
me, but
not.
you'll see why I might have said no if he would have
Am I
told me.
gonna have to come find Aaron?
No,
Because he
no,
can't be doing double L like that.
no.
Like,
But
come
I was like, I might have said no on this.
on. So, okay, so you're a cartoon character. You modeled for Remy Martin. You've Jet Beauty of the Month.
Week.
Week.
You were close enough.
Week.
Twice.
Real close.
Only
I'm
one.
just off by 23 days, so it's okay.
But yeah, that was
uh,
twice. So that was fun.
like, okay, so how does that work? How does Jet find you and put you on your favorite aunt and uncle coffee table?
So,
Like, how did that happen?
so now that it's kind of retired, I can tell you the secret. They have photographers
Mm-hmm.
that look for people and kind of like the same way, but it wasn't MySpace. It was like I want to say the first one, the guy actually knew. And he said, he's like, I do pictures for Jen. And I was like, all right. But he was like, yeah, no, I do. And it's a whole process. So they take the picture, they send the picture in, and they do a selection on the board. And if they select you, they'll send you a letter and say you've been selected, but they won't tell you which jet it's going to be in. So that's the crazy part. I'm looking at jets or having my family look every week because I don't know when it's going to be in there. And then the second time, the guy found me through my website, and he's like the main photographer. Matter of fact, his name is Phil Collins. So if you look at probably 80% of the jets, right? If you look at 80% of jets, you'll see his name as
Mm-hmm.
the photographer for the picture. 80%.
So he got paid pretty much to be a creeper.
Pretty much. And they do pay their models too. So I will say that if you're a Jet Beauty of the Week, they will send you a check. So that's.
That
Cool.
is awesome. And twice.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they didn't look for you twice. They just was like, we gonna go back to her one more time.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm
It was
like,
three. So one was 2002 and the other one was 2005. And the 2005, Morgan Freeman was on the cover. And then 2002, wait for it, B2K was.
oh, they had some bops. Listen,
Yeah, they had some.
all that crazy chaos that was going on, Chris Stokes and his nasty ass, they had some bops.
They did. They did.
They had some bops,
I like
especially when they got with
bump, bump, bump by,
when they got with the R. When they
yeah.
got with the R, and he wrote
You
so talented.
Yes.
Such a skis. We gonna get into that when we get into our music part. But you've done all that, and then yet you make time for little old me who's on the come up. Like, how do you? Because I know people without blue checks that I be coming to them like honestly and be like, hey, I really like what you do. Get it? They either don't answer or they big time me, and I never like come to the timeline and be like, oh, so you know, blah 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 blah. Because that
Right.
if somebody don't want to be on your show, that's fine.
Right. Just
Like,
keep it moving.
just keep it moving. Um, how do you balance that? Because just think about it. You're on somebody's wall somewhere,
Crazy.
ripped out of the magazine on somebody's wall. So somebody's wall of fame or wall of whatever. Like, how do you keep that in perspective?
It's just humility. Even, and I learned that from my mom. Even during the height when I was, in the magazines and the TV, I never, this never got big. I never thought I was above or better than anyone. Never had that attitude. Never will. So talking to you, as far as I'm concerned, is just like, hey, if Steve Harvey, well, maybe we won't use Steve Harvey, but anyway,
Don't use Steve.
Funk Master Flex or somebody, hey, we want to do a quick
Don't
interview.
use Funk Master Flex. No,
you know what I mean? Like
it's not a game.
Donnie Simpson, how's that? But
Yes,
would you Donnie?
the
Okay.
original.
Or Frank Ski. But I don't, there's no measurement like, oh, he's, I'm only going to do this person's show. I'm only going to talk to that person, because you got a good vibe. And like you said, just being on Twitter and going back and forth and the banter and, here and there. I'm like, oh, he's cool. Yeah. And there have been a few podcasts from Twitter, I've probably been on 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, yeah, this person's, yeah.
Denzel meme.
So. And it's just because I'm like, again, it's it's the vibe and the stuff they tweet. I'm just like, I'm gonna be on there like, be sleep. I don't.
That's the perfect segue. Because speaking of vibe, because me and your interaction started because you're not only are you the Throwback Thursday Queen, but you find clips of songs that immediately put me back in a spot where I'm like, I remember when I used to wear the tape out on that. You and I, we love music, and we let it be known we love music. I think most of my Block Me Backs were over music.
Probably.
Some of my music takes. Where did your love of music begin?
Again, I gotta go back to my parents. My mom, I mean, she was always spinning like, the basement parties, Got to Give It Up, Marvin Gaye, Jackie Wilson, Sam Cooke, I mean, Spinners, just vibing. And and then I've started getting into music, but all kinds of music. And that's the crazy part. Like, it wasn't just this one genre. Like, it was country. It was, you got some rock, of course, some R&B, some soul, some pop. So I'm glad that I was exposed to all that different type of music. So when, we're up, I got to kind of, get a kind of whole buffet of different songs and different sounds. And it helped me appreciate, not only the artists, but also the musicians. So, but yeah, give me some nostalgic music and I'm rolling.
See, you're like me, because my wife, my wife hates when we go anywhere long distance, because rules are the driver gets the aux. So
yeah, I've learned that.
I put my iPod on my phone in, I hit the shuffle, it'll go from Aha Take On Me to OJ's Backstabbers, and my wife is sitting there like, honey, why are you so old? Like, what are we listening to? I'm like, this is music. I don't want no Little Dirt or Little Toe
Little
or
Pistol
none of them.
Starter.
Little Pistol Starter. Like, who?
MC such and such.
And what is he rapping about? I don't understand the new music at all.
I rode with my nephew and I was like, oh my goodness, it's killing me. But when I was with it was one of his friends, and he put on, he's like, oh, check out this, this new song. It's great. It's by, The Weeknd. And he talking about this girl, Diana. I was like, oh, and he put it on, and it was Dirty Diana. I said, that's not The Weeknd song. That's Michael Jackson's song.
They don't have no sense of history, and that's the problem. They hearing some of this stuff, and I'm like when I heard what's his name? What's the ugly boy name that did with the cockeye? He's ugly. He's from New England, even from England. What's his name?
Not the cockeye.
He well, what's what is his
Cockeye.
name?
Music, Soul Child?
No, I say he's white guy.
Oh, I thought you said a cockeye.
What is his name? God, now I'm drawing a blank. Now I gotta figure out where his
From
name
England.
is.
From England.
He sang the song where I'm in love with the shape of you. Who's him?
I don't know.
The guy that Marvin Gaye is suing because you can hear
Oh, you talking about Robin Thicke?
No, not Robin Thicke. He sued him. The other guy he sued. What's his ugly name?
I can't. You said it's a white guy from England. From England. Yeah, I think you got me stumped there. Was it Sam?
No, not him. Here we go. Ed Sheeran. There we go. Ed Sheeran.
Oh, yes. I know him with the red hair.
Yes, him with the cockeye. Yeah. Well, when I first heard that song, I was like, that's Marvin Gaye's beat. Mm-hmm. I knew it automatically. But kids were like, man, this is fresh. This is new. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, do y'all know what you listen to? Like some of the Weeknd song, like Blinding Lights. That's Young Turks by Rod Stewart. Like I heard it. Yeah. I was like, I've heard that beat somewhere. Right. And then I was like, it's Rod Stewart. And people like, oh, The Weeknd, he's so fresh, he's innovative. I'm like,
yeah, I was listening to a gospel song last week that my nephew had sent me, and I heard the beat. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, wait a minute, that's Stand By Me. That's how that's Benny King. And I thought she was about to start When the Night, and then she didn't.
Now I know why artists be so mad. They be like,
yeah.
Like you just go unless you Puff. Puff just ripped the whole song. It was like,
he'll take the whole song. He had all the Diana. And the thing is, a lot of times when Puff did that, I knew the originals. Like I knew, More Money, More Problems was Diana Ross. Like I know, like you know that song. But a lot of times when I was younger, listening to stuff, and speaking of that, like I would listen to Heavy D, Mr. Big Stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a new song. And my mom, she would pull out the record. This is, Jean, I can't think of her last name, but, she pulled out the 45. And a lot of songs, like she would say, oh, no, that's James Brown. And James Brown, like,
one of the most
sample everything from his, his voice, everything. I'm for real. Like, it's, But she would pull out the originals, so that's how I got to appreciate also a lot of the older music. And it's like, oh, that's such and such. Like, have you seen her? Oh, that's that's the Starlights. Like, that's not
Starlight.
Right.
I love that beginning. I play the beginning all the time. My wife be looking at me like he's talking for 3 minutes. I'm like, that's how they used to do it back in the day. They would talk for 3 minutes and then sing for 4 more.
Get a whole intro, and then you might get something in the middle, and then wrap it up with some more talking. Like you both.
Yeah, I feel sorry for this generation because they're pretty much telling you have what's when you can't pay attention for a long time.
ADD.
Yeah. Because songs are what now? 1 minute and 37 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, okay, it's over?
Where'd the song go? Right.
She just gave me just 3 lines, huh? That's
right. What happened to the 4, you got a at least 4 minutes and 30 seconds, or, you might get 5. Like, you can do a full activity on a song back in the day. Get you full activity in, full workout, something.
I have a unique question for you, and it revolves 2 of the greatest that are no longer with us. Why do you, and I'm just drawing this question out of left field, why do you think Prince and MJ had such it seemed one-sided? Like Prince had issues with MJ, but you know, MJ was the king. Like Prince would cut you, like to you. Like me and you
Yeah.
going back and forth about this. Prince was the king of shade.
Oh yeah. Oh
Michael
yeah.
was the king of shade too, but he was more subtle with it.
With his shade.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
why do you think those two butted heads so much?
I think a lot of it was because they're both perfectionist and the competition. Um, but you know, going back to what we know now, there was actually a lot of love and respect there
Mutual, yes,
behind the
yes.
scenes, a lot of mutual. And I actually saw one clip because, you know, when people pass, people start bringing up, you know, clips that, you know, you never seen before, interviews that you never, you never heard. And one clip is when Michael was going through the first case, I think it was 1991, and Prince was promoting an album, and they asked him, and he said, you know, basically, you know, I don't know what happened. I'm not here to bash him. I don't know. And, you know, as far as like what he has going on, and that's, you know, basically it's none of my business, but you're not going to pull anything out of me to make me say something negative about him. And then Michael was also kind of in the same position a few times. It's like, I'm not gonna, you know, he'd show up to Prince's shows and vice versa, but they, you know, be in the cut where they couldn't be seen, but there was still that background support. But I think people in this stan culture, and I'm doing like that because it's annoying, where they act like you can't appreciate and respect multiple artists at the same time. Like,
You have to be either or. Cardi
right,
B is blah blah blah.
right.
Beyonce or blah blah blah.
Yeah, like
Beyonce or Mariah. And I'm like,
yeah,
no.
it's, you know, that's, you know, and when I was younger, I probably gravitated toward Michael more because it's Michael's everywhere.
He's
Nobody had never seen anything like Michael. But as with, you know, Prince, I loved Prince too, but there was a line where I'm 7, 8 years old. I can't be singing Darling Nikki in front of my mother or singing some of the things that he talked about back then. And just, it was a, you know, I got popped in the mouth for singing like a virgin when I was like, so, you know, so I think more of the, you know, the mainstream, but then of course, you know, Purple Rain and then Prince, you know, had the string of hits and he was everywhere and mainstream and just both incredibly talented artists. So when I see a back and forth, I'm like, why can't you just enjoy it? Enjoy both of them. We had two incredible artists who are no longer with us. So what are you
To
fighting
me, the
for?
greatest. I say 1A, 1B.
Yeah,
Like to me, those are my top two artists of all time. That's just me. And
right.
that's what I love about music.
Yeah,
It's so subjective. But
exactly.
I love
Exactly.
them too because what Prince did with instruments, Mike can do with just his mind as an audiophile. Like he
Yeah.
could give you a beat like, okay, I want this with Billie Jean. Okay, I want versus Prince to play 6 instruments. He'll grab the bass players. This is what I want you to play.
Yes.
And then he'll go to the drums. This is what I want you to
That's what
play.
right. I want to
It's
hear it
like
like I wrote it. Like when
I
Mike said that, and this is it, when he's like, no, I need to, you know, and he beatboxed it to him. He's like, no, well, how do you want it? I want to hear it. How I wrote it.
like I'm telling it to you.
And when Saida Garrett told that story, how she was saying, and she's like, they better get it right. And he would walk up and tell them, this is what I need to hear. This is the sound that I need to hear. And you need
He's
to play that back to me.
notorious. He's notorious for holding up albums because it's just not right to him.
Right.
Like I remember Teddy Riley say he sat on a song for like a year and a half because he just kept doing stuff to it. And
Yeah.
Teddy was like, to be in the booth with Michael, you have to know your crap.
Well, you
The
know, there
same
was
way with
81
Prince.
mixes of Billie Jean before you got the final, which is crazy. And again, the same thing with Prince. Like, you know, I was watching Morris Day, and I think they had a conversation. Next thing you know, Prince had a song done. Boom, bam, done. Genius, genius.
You would never ever see it like that again.
And what I don't, and the also thing when some people do Mariah versus Whitney, again, both talented, both incredible. They say, well, Mariah wrote her own stuff. And I'm
Okay.
like, Whitney took a song and made it hers. I mean, to do the vocal gymnastics on I'm Your Baby Tonight in one take because she wanted to get to the mall. Just things like that. Like her instrument was
Angel.
her voice. For her to be able to go in the studio and pick it, didn't matter. She didn't have to pin it. That's what you have songwriters for. You have people who that's what they do.
Diane Warren loved Whitney.
I love
Loved
Diane
Whitney.
Warren.
I got something for you, Whitney.
Yeah.
Remember I used that I asked that question. I was like, who's the better producer? I put Diane Warren in there, I put Babyface in there. And people was like, you could tell people was like, who's Diane Warren? Only the person that's wrote songs that you're probably singing right now and you don't know.
Aerosmith. I mean, she's
all genres.
DeBarge.
Multifaceted.
She wrote songs for DeBarge. Like she's Diane Warren, and I hope she finally wins an Oscar because she's been nominated like 12 times and she's nominated again.
Let me ask you something, Elle, because I just got finished watching the Tina Turner documentary.
I watched it.
Oh, she's
goosebumps. Yeah.
This is my problem with Tina Turner. Not a problem, but my problem with everybody else. When people see, I hate when people say, when they see like Beyonce and they see Grace Jones. I mean, they see Beyonce and they see what's the girl name with the nose that wears the meat dresses and be acting all funny? Lady Gaga. When people's like Lady Gaga is so inventive, she's such an artist, she's in the future. I'll be like, I need you to pull up Grace Jones.
Yes.
That's her steez.
Yes.
When people say Beyonce is killing the game with these Dances with Machine, that's Tina all day.
Yes.
But what my issue be is with some of these artists, they know where they're getting this
getting it from.
And they don't educate the others.
Right. There's no credit. And and you know what? I'll go back to Michael and Prince because they always paid homage. You always heard Prince saying Larry Graham, Shaka Khan, James Brown. You always heard Michael, Fred Astaire, when he
Jackie Wilson. He loved Jackie Wilson.
Yes, Jackie Wilson. And we know he loved James Brown. James Brown was like his everything. He was, James Brown.
I watch that BT video once a year.
At certain Prince, Prince pictures, and you pull up a photo of Little Richard. Even the shows, you watch their shows and their performances. The piano, the way Little Richard, and you look at Prince, you're like, Michael Jackson dance moves. You'll see Jackie Wilson do a thing, Michael doing that same thing. But again, both of them were good at saying, this is who inspired me. Let me educate you. Let me tell you about, Prince is like, I got certain keys from listening to Aretha Franklin, who trained herself on the piano. Incredible piano player, Aretha Franklin. So matter of fact, when he did that performance with Beyonce and they interviewed him, and he said, I was very impressed. She's very talented. But he said, I did encourage her to learn the piano and learn some of the things a la Aretha Franklin. And it would help you, as far as longevity within your career, because we saw Aretha Franklin had a 50-year career?
50, 60 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I said the education is gone. Like they don't say
it is.
Yeah, it's
And I don't know if it's your spot is already cemented, but you need to let people know that you're inspired too.
Right.
Especially somebody like Tina who's been through it.
Yeah.
Give that woman her flowers.
Yeah, and I think she's performed with her a couple times and she's shown Tina a lot of love. So I will say that about Beyonce, not necessarily her fans, but Beyonce definitely gives, pays homage and shows the love. So I think she's very good at that. Yeah. And the fans that are like, no, that's her.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to brag on Beyonce because they do give. I'm talking about the fans who just refuse to learn the history.
I mean, I saw one of the Stan accounts And I was like, that footage looks familiar. I was like, where's that footage? And they said that was her concert tour. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I spotted a sign kind of to the right, Michael Jackson Bad Tour. I was like, I knew that footage was from somewhere.
Who they think they be fooling?
Like, no, that's Michael Jackson's Bad Tour, which I attended. But he sold out those stadiums. He performed in Russia, and to me, it does get me upset because I'm like, the way they say, oh well, he didn't. I was like, no, yes, he did. When you have Dick Clark saying, I'd never seen anything like that before, I'll never see anything like that again, we won't. Not with physical album sales, not with the stadiums. There was no festival, no show. It was him.
From the moment he dropped Thriller, and when I say they, I think you know who I mean. They have been determined to say, no, the Beatles has the highest selling album. No, the Eagles have the highest selling album. No, they do not.
Yeah.
No, they do not.
And then when they talk about career, I say you leave off half of his life. You cannot talk about his career, not talk about the Jackson 5. Mm-hmm. They sold over 100 million worldwide. They did world tours. They had cartoons, cereal, you name it. So he could have said, I'm done with music when he became a teenager and kept walking and still been a legend. Mm-hmm. Still been a legend. By the time, when he gave interviews, he said, I was a veteran by the time I was 13. He was, because he had been in the business. So he could have walked away. I'm thankful he didn't.
Oh yeah, as am I, because I grew up on that. I grew up on that, man.
Kept it steady, but yeah. So a lot of times I see stuff and I keep scrolling because I said it's not worth it because you can't educate someone who doesn't want to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and then some stuff I actually do stop. I'm like, wait a minute.
You get tweeting so hard and you tweet so hard you don't check for errors.
Right, I'm like, yeah, spelling errors. I'm like, I don't.
Now, Elle, I know you told me. I know you said not to talk about New School, and I'm not. But there's one person that I particularly love, and he gets some backlash because people say he culture appropriates. But I tell people to get the history on him because he do not. Because when he went to record companies with his deal, they saw his last name and they wanted him to do Latin music. He was like, but that's not what I want to do.
Right.
And I think you know who I'm talking about. Talk about Bruno Mars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's my guy.
I like him.
And I think he's the perfect bridge.
So he's good.
He his little behind. He could, but my thing is, people are quick to say the wrong people are culture appropriate. And when if you look at the credits for Uptown Funk, he said, I got it from Morris Day and the Time. This is Prince. This is Minneapolis sound. Yeah. He got the horns in there. He's giving credit in the music to everybody. He's like, this is where I got this. This is where I got this.
Even though Little Richard, the tribute, I wasn't like, oh, why is he doing Little Richard? I was like, oh, that's good. That was perfect.
He did Prince tribute too.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, that's good. Yep. Now sometimes people go too far with that when it's not, I think I actually, speaking of that, when I said I don't, sometimes I'll jump in when someone claimed Tina Marie cultural appropriate. I was like, no, that was who she was. That's who she was. She wasn't trying to be Black. She wasn't trying to be anyone else. She was Tina Marie.
It's like Hall & Oates. Yeah. They love soul music.
That's who they are. Yeah, that's who they
are. Period. They didn't get somewhere. They didn't do like, prime example, Pink. Pink always wanted to do rock, but when she went to L.A. Reid, he said, no, you're from Philly, you're a white girl, you're going to do R&B.
Right.
She hated it.
Yeah.
She hated it.
Yep. It wasn't who she was. It wasn't who she was. Yeah. Correct. And that's
that was a banging ass album, though.
It was good. But when she got into, what she wanted to do, I like that music too. Like I bought Misunderstood. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is, you can tell her soul and her passion was into it. So I was like, yeah.
So give me, I'm gonna make it hard for you now. Oh, you got one album.
Just one?
Oh, man. One album to put in a box and put it in the ground, and when they dig it up to explain what music is, what album is that?
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
There's actually one that instantly comes to mind, and it's gonna sound cliche, but not even cliche, and I probably have a few people agree with me. But if I put this album in the ground and people dug it up 40 years later, and it would explain music from beginning to end, I'm going with Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder.
Damn.
Not a Michael Jackson. You thought I was going to go Michael Jackson, didn't you?
No. I thought you were going to go. Prince. I did not think about Stevie.
Yeah.
I was like, she's not going to do Michael because she expected me to say Michael. I was like, maybe she might do Prince.
But if someone asked me to pick one Michael Jackson album to put in the ground, I mean, I got to go with Off the Wall. Or maybe Dangerous. Dangerous is my favorite Michael Jackson album, and I don't share that a lot, but that's.
Teddy was heavy on that one.
Yeah. Yep. I love Dangerous.
Michael dancing and get the kissy man and kiss Eddie Murphy off. Remember when? Okay, people, I know I didn't mean to turn this into Michael Jackson. He would have primetime slots to preview his videos.
Yep.
And who's doing that now?
No one's doing that.
Who?
And no one did it before. But yeah, he would have major networks. Like it was a time slot, like premiere of, Michael Jackson. No.
Come on.
Yeah.
But let's go back to Stevie. What is it about Stevie that, besides the obvious, that you feel comfortable with him explaining music?
Oh my goodness. Just his passion and his ear is incredible. Yeah. And if you listen to his music, I mean, you instantly recognize when it's a Stevie song for sure, but it's still different. He's not giving you the same beat, the same tune, the same even subject matter. You get a variety. So if you're asking him to take you through music, he's going to take you through a journey from beginning to end. He's going to take you through emotions. He can make you mad with one of the songs, You Haven't Done Nothing, when he was talking about Nixon, make you mad, make you feel love, Ribbon in the Sky, make you feel sad, Stay Gold, or, Never Dreamed You Leave in Summer. He's going to take you there.
I always cry on that one.
So he can take you through all that, make you feel happy, when you listen to, As. Make you happy. Like, always until the you just you jam it.
What I also love about Stevie is his respect for other cultures.
Oh yeah.
And implementing their music into his sound without making it seem forced. Like, remember when the Latin explosion happened? Then you had American artists trying to do Latin, and you was like, that's forced.
Right.
We see that.
Yeah.
Like, stop. But with Stevie, like, he could go to an African village, listen, come back, and be like, this is what I found out when I went to Kenya. This is what this was their vibe. And you're like, how? Like, how do some people is able to just do that?
It's crazy.
And make it really is a gift.
Even did it with reggae. That Master, I can't say the time, Master Jammer, I'm probably getting it wrong, but that's a reggae song. And yeah, went to Jamaica, like you said, he come back. This is what I heard. Let's put it on a record and done.
Yeah, I gotta ask you something controversial. It seemed like the greater the artist, the more troubled they are. And you know who I'm about to bring up. It's the R.
Mr. Chicago.
Yeah. I don't care. He's still, when you put when you talk about songwriters and you talk about musicians, you're gonna have to bring his name up
Yeah.
because of his music.
Yeah.
Um, how do you separate music from how do you separate the craft from the man
From the
or the
person.
woman or from the
Ooh,
person?
yeah. That's a tough one because they're, even looking, and I think someone actually brought it up about some things with Marvin Gaye.
Yes.
Even, some stories that my mother, has told me about Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke, some of those artists who are still revered. And, I'm not going to just say it's, Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis. There's things that's like,
The
whoa,
Stones,
person, right?
Led Zeppelin.
Yes, even the drug abuse thing. Some people, I find it more with Black artists that it's like, oh, but when they talk about other artists, Jim Morrison, oh, he was great. No, he was an addict as well.
He was bloated in an attic when he
Yeah.
passed.
So, I think I can tell you, the more stuff that comes out and you think, and it's like, and it's connected to the songs, that's where it gets you. That's where the battle comes in. Because I'm like, oh, you know,
So good.
like
Music so good.
hard, and it makes me sad because I'm like, how could you do these things, and you have this incredible talent and you have this gift, and it's almost like you ruined your gift because now that's intertwined. So it's hard. Some people say if a R. Kelly song comes on or something that he's written, they turn it off. Do I do that? No. There's a song by Whitney Houston that actually helped me a lot when my brother passed a few months ago. I Look to You. R. Kelly wrote that. So I don't necessarily connect that. I won't connect that to him or don't really think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He wrote that. Or even, Michael Jackson's You Are Not Alone, when someone said, oh, it was about a, 14-year-old girl. I'm like, oh, no.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Stop it,
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, and then when I read the backstory, and that's the thing, people stop at just one level of information and don't take it to that next level. Like, let me dig a little more. Oh, okay, this is how this comes about, or here's more information.
It's called song fact, people.
Twitter or people in this age, yeah, they just stop at one level and won't.
It's all about jokes and likes. It's all about jokes and likes. Like I love to see the process of why a song came together and how did the artist come up with that, because I don't want to be singing about something and I'm like, ooh, whoa.
Right, what am I
what am I
thinking about? Or whoa.
What am I thinking about? But yeah, I thought it was very important to answer that because we Black people, listen, I'm just gonna tell you, we run this music thing. Like it's we're just embedded everywhere.
Yeah, I've gotten into it with people, mostly white people who say, this person isn't rock and roll. Someone had a battle. Aretha wasn't rock and roll. She was rock and roll. Rock and roll came from gospel. Rock and roll came from R&B. And there's a clip of Little Richard, I've posted it a few times, where he breaks it down where rock and roll came from. So for you to say these soul artists shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they're not rock and roll. Well, Tina's rock and roll, but Dionne Warwick's not rock and roll. Yes, she is. She is rock and roll. Shaka Khan's not rock and roll. Yes, she is.
I bet you they don't even know about Rufus.
No.
I bet you they don't.
They're automatically saying, no, she's not rock and roll, but why should? No, she is. All that.
Look, most of these singers that went on to have outstanding solo careers, they were front people for a band. Especially the women artists.
Yeah.
These band members didn't have it, so they was like, let me put Retha, let me put Shaka in front, let me put Deborah Harry in front.
Or in the backing, Luther used to back for David Bowie, and David Bowie was like, "No, you are a star.
No, you're supposed to be in the
You
front.
Right, you shouldn't be in the back. You need to break off. Let me remove you from back in here because you need to be on the mic."
Thank you, David Bowie.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, and I thank Prince for getting rid of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Thank you, Prince. Thank you.
Had no business being late. No business being late.
No business being late, but thank you.
When I hear a story about Prince playing the bass behind the curtain because the bass guy didn't know it, as soon as Jimmy and Terry showed up, it's fire. Well, thank you. I'm a go and make the most successful female artist of all time. Thank you, because you wouldn't have Control. You wouldn't have Velvet Rope. You wouldn't have all this.
None of that.
So, Elle, this is perfect. Before you leave, I want to talk about social media a little bit and how where do you think social media is going to go in the future?
Oh goodness. I think it's eventually is going to run its course. Like,
okay, interesting.
Like disco. I love disco, by the way.
Wait a minute, who does it? Come on.
I love disco. I think disco was forced out, but I also think it ran its course. Even though I don't think people thought disco was going to last, but they also thought hip hop wasn't going to last.
Yeah, what was wrong with that?
Was a fad. Very wrong. Very wrong. But I think social media, as technology gets more and more advanced, it's going to come to a point where there's going to be something new that takes over. What it is, I don't know. I can't put on my Liz Tradamus hat and see. But I think as the different options, and it's starting to get a little overcrowded. So when something starts getting a little overcrowded and too much, then hey, it's time for a new, something completely new.
Yeah, when you got one person having over,
I don't know if it's going to be 10 years from now or 15 years from now, but I think eventually, I
find it funny when people value their worth with their followers. It'd be so funny to me. I have over some followers. I'm like,
I lost the old account and I had over 35,000 followers, and you always keep your side account, but this account was just for hockey because my main account, I didn't get a lot of engagement. So I was like, well, let me create this other account, not realizing it would eventually become my main account. But so I started getting in, engaging there. But of course, my other account, we know how that goes, but we don't have to get into that. Mm-hmm. But I was more upset about the people I followed than my followers, because I couldn't remember @names. So I'm like, man, so-and-so was a good follow. Now I'm not going to be able to find them, or I don't remember what their @name was. So
they should give you a chance to transfer. I was
more upset about that than losing 35, because sometimes it's, it's a double edge. Like sometimes like, oh, my stuff got out there, and then other times you go viral and it's like, oh, this is, a verified account, when they retweet my tweet, and it's just, I'm like, now I got all these people coming. It's not fun. It's not fun.
So what I want to ask now? What is without any names, what is the creepiest thing somebody has either said to you or sent to you in a DM?
Had several of those. Your picture, blah 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 blah, or I've done this with your magazine.
Oh.
And I've actually gotten that from verified accounts. Those type of DMs on my old account.
How would you like to know we got something in common? I have not gotten anything. Well, technically, have I? No, Anna Hopford has gotten verified accounts.
Yeah, I am.
understood why. Like one time I told somebody, I was like, if you're a married man, you don't need to tell somebody in the DM thanks for the follow.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you don't need no.
I don't like that. I don't like when, someone will make a comment and it's really an innocent comment that could have been on the timeline. I'm like, why are you sending me this via DM when you could have said it? This is something you could have said on the timeline.
It's regular.
It's just very, it's that irritates me. And
you know
I'll
what they're doing.
Yeah, but I'm like, this
block.
Yeah. I usually,
like Matumbo.
or I won't even engage with them. I'm just like, you could have said this on that.
Yeah, you could have said this on the timeline. Hey, thank you. What?
Right, like why did you put that?
So other people can thank me.
When I do my throwback pictures, I kind of get it when they come in because they don't want to see their wife or their girl following and.
Well, then that means you don't need to be seeing it. Then
you don't need to be, yeah.
Or you can see it. You don't need to comment on it.
I got a story there too, where I had a person blue check, had a name out there, and he was commenting on my pictures. Next thing I know, I'm getting ripped by his wife. And I'm like, what did I do? I'm posting pictures and he's born. But that's, I know for me, if my man friend wants to like pictures or, whatever, it doesn't bother me. But that's, complimenting, it's human nature to me. It's when you take it to that next level, then it's like, whoa, wait a minute. But if you're just saying, beautiful picture or something like that, which pretty much what he was doing, but I got a full-on attack from her. And I'm like, whoa.
You have, I remember it was a video that went viral and my wife sent it to me. A girl gave her boyfriend a present. It was a box of pictures of all the girls he liked on Instagram.
Wow, that's actually pretty clever. But
he would print them out, and she cut them all out, and she put them in.
That's clever. That's actually clever.
And my wife sent me that, and I was like, "Say less. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I got you.
Hilarious.
I got the message. So now I'd be like, okay,
right. Just keep scrolling. Right, keep scrolling.
It's so That's simple. Right.
So simple.
Yeah. This has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed this. Like, I was so excited for this because I like to talk music. I like to, 140 characters really can't like.
Right. And if someone sends me more a tweet that's more than like 3 sentences, I don't even want to tweet with them anymore. I'll send them a 1-word answer. I know it sounds terrible, but I do. Because I'm like, this is just too long. Like, this is cool, but send a few, going back and forth. But when you're writing me long paragraphs,
yeah, them long blue things in the DM.
Yeah.
Oh, got sidetracked. We gotta talk sports. Can you talk sports?
Yeah, I'll stay with you for a little while longer.
Okay.
We've been gone for a little while, but yeah.
Okay. Real quick, your Knicks.
Yes.
They're not last year's Knicks. How do you feel?
Oh, it's incredible to go into watching a game and knowing that this team's going to play hard. Like, there's a chance to win the game. And before that, it's like, oh, okay, here comes a third quarter breakdown, a fourth quarter breakdown if they give you an ounce of hope, or it's just a blowout. So you didn't know which team you were getting, but this one with Coach Tibbs, yeah. Okay, we go into a game and I don't even care who the team is. I know that they're going to play as hard as they possibly can.
I know what my Sixers are playing, y'all. I was like, can they just go away? Can they just go away? Y'all wouldn't go away.
Different. But these guys, do I think they're going to do something this year or the next year? I don't know. Well, in the Eastern Conference, it's definitely possible. Playoffs might get knocked out the first round, but it's a possibility. They can definitely
get Spike front row.
like us. But yeah, it's a good feeling.
Okay, I'm not going to rag on you too long. We've been too long anyway. So
no, this was good. This was fun.
Double L, Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
for
me. And
having
we
me.
have to do this again. Oh
For
yeah.
sure.
We definitely gonna do this if we wind up playing the Knicks
Okay. We can
in
do
the
a little breakdown,
playoffs.
little
We
playoff
do a little
preview.
breakdown, a little
Yeah, we'll
something,
do a
something.
preview for sure.
Thank you so much. Can you want to tell everybody where they can find you? Not like your physical address, but like on social media.
And you can find me at Love the Puck on here, and if you're Instagram, at Liz's Locker Room on IG.
Listen to you all, Professor Liz's Locker Room. Why is it that a show?
I don't know. Everybody keeps telling me I need to do a show or podcast, and I'm like, I don't need to keep people that long.
Don't look at me as a template. I don't know when to shut the hell up. But you would be awesome to get some of your takes on whatever it is to because sometimes I think when you're just firing off on Twitter, people don't understand the depth of which you know what you're talking about. So that would, I'm just saying, if you could find time in your busy schedule between photo shoots and
Yeah, I
cartoon
used to do a
characters.
blog, but I stopped doing that because schedule
That's
got
typing.
busy. But
Just talk. Just talk. Fire it up and just talk. Liz's take.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
I'll consider it.
But thank you so much for joining me. This has been fun. And when I get unblocked or unsuspended, I'll be back, people.
All right.
Don't worry about it. But to everybody out there, thanks for listening. Remember to download this as soon as it's available. I'll make sure it's available. Please, as I always say, you don't have to be tough. Just be real. Just be yourself. That will work. All right, people. Say bye to Love the Puck.
Mask up.
That's right. Mask up. Well, we virtual, so we don't have a mask. Bye, everybody. See you later.